All right, so you're curious about AI in Latin America, right? Not just the hype, but like the real deal on the ground.
Absolutely.
Well, we're doing a deep dive into the Latin American Index of Artificial Intelligence, the 2024 edition. It's a reality check for AI.
Yeah, it's really interesting. It goes way beyond just, giving countries a ranking. Like
Yeah.
it really digs into what's going on, what's driving
Why
things.
behind the numbers, right?
Exactly. And it breaks them down in a really helpful way, like pioneers, adopters, and explorers. So you can see different countries at different stages. It's a much clearer picture.
It's kind of like a snapshot of where everybody is in their AI journey,
Yeah, exactly.
which is super helpful, especially when we're thinking about how these AI ecosystems actually develop.
Right.
We're talking about the building blocks here, internet access, the computing power, the data, the skills.
Yeah. It's like, when you bake a cake, right?
Oh, here we go.
You can have the best recipe in the world. If you're missing ingredients or your oven doesn't work, it's not going to work out.
So true.
And that's what this ILA report does really well, I think. It shows you, like, okay, this country has the ingredients. This one, they're still figuring out what they need.
It's a good analogy.
Yeah.
And it's not just about the tech itself, right? The report also looks at how this stuff actually plays out in the real world. Like, are businesses using AI? Are schools? Is the government? What's going on?
Yeah, exactly. Like this report isn't just some theoretical, blah, blah, blah. It's about AI in action. Real examples. Remember that 5G auction Chile had a while back?
Oh, yeah, I think I remember hearing about that. Didn't they do something kind of different?
They did. Instead of just focusing on, who could roll out the fastest network, they made it about broad coverage, making sure everyone had access.
Oh, interesting.
And making sure there was competition so it wasn't just one big company controlling everything.
So it's not just like who can build it fastest, but like who can build it best for everybody. I like that.
Yeah, but the report really gets into the nitty-gritty of how they actually did it, like the policies and all. It's a really cool example of how governments can use smart policies to get good outcomes with technology,
Totally. So Chile's setting a pretty high bar. What other AI success stories caught your eye from the report?
This one's kind of out there.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so have you heard of guacamaya?
Guacamaya. Wait, is that the one, the rainforest one?
Yes, that's the one. So they're using AI in Colombia.
Yeah.
To protect rainforest.
Which is amazing because how else do you protect something that vast?
Right. It's like this guacamaya analyzes satellite images, but get this in real time.
Yeah.
So any deforestation happening, they know about it instantly.
Wow.
The old way was so slow, like people would have to study images manually, or someone would literally have to go to the area, which by then, it's too late.
It's like having a 24/7 watchdog, but for the entire rainforest. That's incredible. This guacamaya thing is a game changer. No, really.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And the report, it kind of gets into the tech behind it, which is pretty complex, of course.
Yeah.
It's this whole machine learning thing, analyzing images for patterns a person might miss.
So cool. All right, what about education? Any cool AI stuff popping up in schools?
Okay, so there's this really cool thing in Brazil. Imagine a virtual teaching assistant, but like one that actually works.
Okay, that's what I want to see.
Right, so it helps teachers, create those personalized lesson plans. Every kid learns differently and adjust material, and it's all powered by AI.
What? So is this thing actually being used or is it still in like the testing phase?
It's being used right now. It's called Plu, a Brazilian education company. They worked with Amazon to build it. And the report highlights how this kind of tech can be so impactful for teachers and students. It frees up the teachers from like the busy work so they can focus on the kids.
That is amazing. Okay, so we've got Chile with the 5G, Colombia saving the rainforest, and Brazil changing the education game. Latin America's got some serious AI game.
For sure. And the Alier report showcases these strengths really well.
Yeah.
But, every journey has its bumps, right?
Right. Speaking of bumps, one thing I'm curious about, who's actually building all this AI? Like, is there enough diversity in the field? Especially when it comes to gender.
That is the question. And it's something the report unfortunately calls out as a major challenge. The numbers just aren't there. Not enough women in AI research across Latin America.
Yeah, it makes me wonder, like, what are the contributing factors there? Is it a pipeline problem? Are there not enough women in STEM fields generally?
It's definitely part of it. The whole you can't be what you can't see thing. If young girls don't see women in AI, they don't think it's an option.
Right.
And it's not just the numbers, right? Like, think about it. If you have a bunch of dudes building AI, you're going to get AI that reflects a very specific worldview. And that can have real consequences,
Oh, absolutely. So the talent pool needs work. What about just the overall adoption of AI in Latin America? Is it taking off, or are we hitting roadblocks?
That's one of the weird things the report highlights. Like, yeah, everyone's talking about AI, some countries are making big moves, but overall, adoption is lagging, like way behind other parts of the world.
What's holding it back? You think it's lack of funding, the right infrastructure, or something else entirely?
Honestly, it's probably a combo. Funding is huge, though. AI stuff, it's not cheap to build. Yeah. Especially for startups.
And access to capital can be a challenge, right?
Exactly. And then, even if you've got the money, you need people who can actually build the thing. The report talks about this skills gap. Like, we need people who can not only code, but really understand how to apply AI.
It's so much more than just like knowing how to code.
Right. And then there's just like the fear factor. Some businesses, they don't get AI, they're scared of it, so they don't even try.
That makes sense.
So yeah, it's complicated.
It sounds like it. But, focusing on the challenges can be a bit of a downer. Let's talk about solutions. How does the report suggest we bridge this AI adoption gap?
Well, I mean, the report is pretty optimistic overall. It really hammers home the point that Latin America could be a major player in AI. But it's going to take everyone working together, like governments, businesses, schools, all hands on deck.
Team effort.
Yeah. And everyone has to do their part. Governments, they need to make it easier for AI to thrive, right? Invest in things like high-speed internet.
Yeah.
Especially in places that don't have it.
Because what good is an amazing AI solution if you can't even get online to use it, right?
Exactly. And it's not just infrastructure. Governments can encourage companies to invest in AI, maybe with tax breaks or grants, and getting universities and businesses working together.
Got it. So basically creating this like fertile ground where AI can flourish.
Yeah. And businesses, they got to get on board too. Be open to new tech.
Yeah.
And train their employees. So everyone's ready to work with AI.
That's like AI isn't the enemy. It's a tool. Use it to help your business grow.
Yes. And then let's not forget education. We need to prepare kids for a future where AI is everywhere. That means teaching AI concepts in school, even from a young age.
It really sounds like we need this whole societal mindset shift to truly unlock AI's potential in Latin America, huh?
Absolutely. And that's what makes this ILE report so important. It's not just like, here's some numbers. It's like, hey, we need everyone to step up if we want to make Latin America an AI leader.
A call to action. I love it. Okay, we've talked about getting more women in AI, the challenges of making sure it's adopted widely, and how important it is for everyone to work together. What other crucial themes does the report touch on?
One that I think is super important, but people don't talk about it enough, the ethics of AI.
Oh, right, because with any powerful new technology, there's always the question of, are we using this for good?
Yeah.
What does the report say about AI ethics in Latin America?
It actually has a whole section on it.
Oh, yeah.
And it stresses that ethical considerations, they can't be an afterthought. They need to be there from the beginning. It's not build the AI first and then figure out the ethics later.
Right. It has to be baked into the process from the ground up.
Exactly. Like build AI with a conscience.
Build AI with a conscience. I love that. But how do we actually do that?
It's tricky. But the report gives some solid advice. Like, we need clear rules about data privacy and make sure algorithms aren't biased. Because here's the thing, if we aren't careful, AI could actually make existing inequalities worse.
That is a scary thought.
Right. So we have to make sure AI is used for good and that everyone benefits, not just a select few.
It sounds like Latin America is at this crossroads with AI. There's so much potential, but some real challenges too. What I'm hearing is that to succeed, everyone's got to work together, invest in education and infrastructure, and always, always keep ethics in mind.
You got it. The future of AI in Latin America. It's being written right now. And the decisions we make today will determine what that future looks like. This report gives us a roadmap, but we get to decide where it leads.
Speaking of roadmaps, so there was one example from the report I wanted to circle back to. Remember we were talking about Chile's 5G auction earlier?
Yeah.
I think it's a perfect illustration of how to use, good policy to guide tech in the right direction.
It really is. What's so impressive about what Chile did is they achieved so much at once. They made money from the auction, obviously, but they also made sure 5G coverage was widespread, even in remote areas, and they kept the market competitive. It's like the best case scenario for government involvement.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in learning more about how they pulled that off. But first, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back to unpack the secrets of Chile's 5G success and explore more fascinating insights from the Latin American Index of Artificial Intelligence.